The Ontario government is considering implementing a cooling off period for new home sales to help protect buyers of pre-construction properties. This cooling off period would give buyers the time to review the agreements and seek legal advice before making their final decisions. This would be similar to the 10-day cooling off period that already applies to those purchasing new condo units. And it brings us a little bit closer to what British Columbia introduced at the end of last year, which was a 3-day cooling off period that applies to all real estate transactions, resale included. So in this video, we're going to talk about what a cooling off period would look like for buyers of new homes in Ontario, and what that would mean if it were to apply to resale transactions as well. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jessie McClellan, and I'm a realtor here in Oshawa, Ontario with the Lisa Abbott team. If you enjoy this video and want to stay up to date on the real estate market, especially in Durham region, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Right now, if you're purchasing a pre-construction freehold property in Ontario, once the purchase agreement is signed, in most cases, it's a firm deal. Now, I say most cases because, like resale properties, the market fluctuates, and depending on those market conditions, you may or may not have some flexibility with the builder. Just like in resale, if the market is hot and there are 20 other people that want to buy the same property, it's likely that they're not going to be accepting of offers that are conditional on things like financing. But over the last couple of years, builders haven't really had to give up much or accept conditions in their purchase agreements because of where the market was at and the demand that was out there. And most of the purchase agreements tend to lean heavily in favor of the builder, often giving the builder a legal way to get out of the contract, which has caused problems for some buyers in the past where the builder exercises their ability to back out of the contract after the buyers have put down deposits, sometimes 1 or 2 years down the line, only to be left without a home and restarting their home search in a more expensive market. So how could this cooling off period affect purchasers of pre-construction homes? Well, builders would be required to inform buyers of the cooling off period, and that would allow a time frame for buyers to seek legal advice and have their agreement reviewed by a lawyer. This won't eliminate all of the risks of purchasing pre-construction, but it would certainly help ensure potential buyers have an understanding of their agreement and what rights both they and the builders have. And this isn't a new idea either, as buyers of pre-construction condos already have a 10-day cooling off period, which allows them time to have the agreement reviewed and to also look into the proposed bylaws and rules for the building to make sure that it's a good fit for them. If not, they can back out of the purchase within the 10-day period without consequence. And honestly, I think that this is a step in the right direction. Purchase agreements from builders especially are long, complex documents, so I absolutely think that buyers should have the document reviewed by a lawyer to know exactly what they're signing and what they're committed to, as well as what rights the builder has so they can better understand and be prepared for different scenarios. Committing to purchasing a home that might not be built for another 2 to 4 years is a big commitment, and there's a lot that can change in that time frame. Just ask the people that bought a pre-construction property when interest rates were at their lowest and now are unable to afford to close on the property, but are still legally required to do so. Or those that signed a purchase agreement only to have the builder back out of the deal, and now they're stuck purchasing in a market that has increased substantially. A 10-day cooling off period won't prevent changes in the market or to interest rates, and it might not stop the builder from legally backing out of the deal on their end. But anyone entering into these agreements would be more aware of those possible outcomes and know exactly what they have signed. And if more buyers are seeking legal advice, then it's more likely they're going to try and negotiate with the builder to either add or remove certain conditions to make it less risky for them. And if enough buyers decide to avoid pre-construction or negotiate pre-construction and decide to look at resale, then builders might feel more pressure to be more flexible. When it comes to pre-construction properties, I don't see a downside to this. However, where it could get complicated is if Ontario decides to implement a cooling off period for resale transactions like they did in BC last year. In BC, buyers are given a 3-day period where they can rescind their purchase agreement for a property. If a buyer does decide to rescind an offer, they are faced with a cancellation fee of 0.25% of the purchase price. So on $1 million property, that would be just a $2,500 fee, and it's paid directly to the seller. Some of the potential problems that were highlighted by those opposed to the 3-day cooling off period are sellers having to relist in a cooler market, price escalation because of reduced consequences for placing an offer, and the domino effect it could have on other transactions that are part of a buying and selling chain. On the one hand, I understand trying to add an extra layer of protection for buyers who may be under pressure of having to make quick decisions when purchasing a home, especially in markets where buyers are not including conditions for home inspections. But on the other hand, I also see how that can make it difficult for sellers to make purchasing decisions of their own based on what their home is sold for. And having a 3-day cooling off period isn't the same as having a home inspection condition or a financing condition. During the cooling off period, the seller isn't required to give you access to their home for an inspection that would still require a home inspection condition in the offer, thus making the cooling off period a little bit redundant. I'm not exactly sure what the cooling off period for resale properties solves. It really just gives the buyers 3 days to think about it or look at other properties and make sure there isn't a better opportunity. And honestly, just adds to the confusion and craziness of the process. It doesn't help when the market is crazy and everybody is waiving their home inspections, because that 3-day condition doesn't give you access to the home to have an inspection done anyway. And it doesn't help with higher prices either. If anything, it encourages bidding because you have 3 days to change your mind. So what's the harm? I think it's smart to have a cancellation fee that's paid to the seller, but I don't know if that fee is high enough to be enough of a deterrent to stop buyers from taking advantage of this cooling off period. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Should we have a cooling off period for all pre-construction properties? Would you take it a step further and have a cooling off period for all resale transactions as well? Leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one next week. Bye!